Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Security Guard Command. Excuse my voice, I've been dealing with some pretty severe allergies, so my voice is a little hoarse. Sorry if I start coughing. It's just been these allergies after all this rain we had in California. Everything's growing, everything's blooming, and I've discovered I've got new allergies unlocked this season. It's just terrible, but anyway. Wanted to talk about something that has kind of been on my heart and mind for a while now, and I've really just kind of been mulling over the whole concept. And what I want to talk about is essentially leadership versus management. What are the differences? How are they the same? And I really want to focus mostly on leadership, because management is really, it's a title. It's a job description, which entails very specific duties. Whereas leadership is not necessarily a title. It's a verb. It's anybody can be a leader. Let's put it that way. Not anybody can be a manager or is a manager. And one of the things that I really wanted to focus on as it pertains to the individual security guard is that realistically, your job as a security guard or security officer is a job of leadership. Now, I've talked to a few people about this in person, and they got a little confused when I said that until I explained it. So, when you're at a post, let's say, I'm going to make up a post here. You're standing in front of a store, and you're guarding essentially the sidewalk in front of the store, making sure that people don't enter the store that shouldn't be entering the store, or what have you. Your job, in order to do your job effectively without having, major issues, is to be a leader. And so when you're a leader, you inspire people to action. You're not forcing people to action, and it's not compulsory. It's, you're inspiring people to action. And as security, we don't have a whole lot of tools in our belt when it comes to forced compliance. Everything that we do revolves around voluntary compliance. And so you can't be a manager to gain compliance, because management usually means control, and you just simply don't have control over other individuals. But as a leader, you can inspire people to comply. And that's where, leadership comes in as a security guard. Now, let's move on to leadership in a company. We'll talk about management. Management is, like I said earlier, about control. Management is about a set outcome. It's bottom line is control. You can measure management by using what's called KPIs, key performance indicators, and basically it's all metrics. You can measure the effectiveness of a manager by profits in the company, customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction. There are things that you can measure to grade the effectiveness of a manager. Now, as far as a leader goes, leadership is measured differently. And while you can still measure the effectiveness of leadership with some of the same indicators, leadership is different. Leadership inspires. And I think one of the biggest differences in a quote that I heard, and I'm gonna butcher this quote, but I'm gonna get the point across. Leadership, management is in charge of controlling people, whereas Leadership has followers. And so in this case here, you've got management who kind of pushes people. Leadership leads people. People follow. And so what I wanted to talk about here, guys, is that you all can be leaders. You can all are in leadership. And you don't have to be in a position of authority in a company to be a leader. You could be a security guard just like the 10 other people that you work with. But if you inspire your fellow coworkers to be better, to do their job better, you're a leader. You are in leadership. And that, in a company that I would be in charge of, that is the type of thing that I would look for in order to promote somebody to a management position. Because management and leadership are symbiotic. They belong together. And if you don't have one, you're doomed to fail. You could have leadership and nothing but leadership, but you don't have the management there to make sure that the processes are in place to achieve the goals that leadership has come up with. Likewise, if you have all management, you have no goals. You're in a dead-end company. If there's no leadership, I've worked for companies where it's all management, no leadership. And I'll tell you what, man, that is a fast track to burnout for employees. And that's where you come across employee retention, employee satisfaction. And there's a saying that goes that employees don't leave their jobs, they leave their managers. And if management lacks leadership, you're gonna end up having extremely high turnover rates in the employment in your company. You will hear things from employees like, I never know if I'm doing my job correctly. I only find out if I'm doing it wrong. And that's a sign of pure management with very little leadership at all. You can take a corporation, and if you work at a corporation and you feel like it's all about the numbers and it's all about just meeting goals, meeting your set goals for your department, but you don't have any sense of motivation or any sense of purpose, that's a good sign that you don't have leadership in your company. That's not to say that you can't step up and be a leader and inspire people, but it takes leadership along with management to be successful in a company. And if you don't have both, you're on a dead end track. You're not gonna be very successful. I've worked for companies before where I tried to step up and bring leadership into the equation. I worked for a company where it was pure management, and the company was really going nowhere. It was status quo, and so I approached the owner of the company. I was on, I'm on good terms with the owner. I was, and I told him, hey, look, I've got these ideas. Are you interested? Do you want to grow this company? You want to take it to the next level? And he was like, yeah, sure. It's like, okay. So I started laying out the plan. I started calling him, having just meetings with him over the phone. I had all these ideas, all these plans ready to go. And I even had the processes in place for him to implement. And when it came down to it, nothing happened. And I mean, he was excited, he was inspired, but when it came down to it, he just didn't implement any of the things that I was, trying to push. I had vision for him. I just to put it frankly, it went nowhere. And that was because management was so stuck on the status quo. And that was a burnout for me. And I ended up burning out. You end up not caring anymore. And that's hard for me. I am not that person. I am an active person. I am a problem solver. I'm an innovator. And if I feel like I don't have a purpose, that is the fastest way to lose me. I am an employee who will give 180%, 200% to my job. I will go above and beyond as long as I feel like I have a purpose. As long as I feel like what I'm doing matters. The minute that you take that away from me is the minute that you lose me as an employee. And it might take a little bit of time, but I'm just drifting at that point. I'm drifting until the next thing comes along. And so if you're a manager of a company, really focus on the leadership aspect of your management. You can be a manager and a leader at the same time. It takes practice. It is a skill that can be learned. There are videos on YouTube on how to be a better leader. One of my absolute favorite speakers on leadership is Simon Sinek, and he has his own channel on YouTube. He has done TED Talks on leadership. He is absolutely inspirational and an asset to any company. I highly recommend that you listen to his videos and then implement what he talks about in your daily life and in your work life. Great leadership advice that Simon Sinek will give you. One of the things that I can see is hospitals. If you take a hospital and you look at the issues that hospitals are facing currently, you'll hear that there's nursing shortages, that they just can't get nurses to fill the positions in the hospitals, and that they don't have enough nurses. And I'll tell you right now that is actually false. There is not a nursing shortage. There is a tremendous number of nurses out there. And I know this for a fact because, one, I'm married to a nurse. My wife is a nurse. She's been a nurse for going on 25 years now. I know a ton of nurses. And there is no shortage of nurses out there. What there is a shortage of leadership in hospitals. Hospitals, and especially with what you see here on with COVID in the last couple of years, it really put these hospitals for a loop. And leadership will guide a company through a period of change. Management will stick with the status quo. They're all about the methods and the processes. And when you are in a company that has no leadership, you're going to end up burning out your staff. And in this case, nurses are burned out. They're leaving in droves, and hospitals are scrambling to hire nurses, and the number of travel nurses in hospitals is staggering right these days. Every other nurse that I come across is a travel nurse right now. And turnover is extremely high in the nursing field. And the same issues face many hospitals. And it's all about management, and there's very little leadership. There's very little vision in the hospitals. Where are you going? Where are you taking this hospital? There's no vision. There's no leadership. And quite frankly, the CEO is supposed to be the leadership. And what I'm seeing in a lot of hospitals is that the CEO is playing the part of manager and literally micromanaging the people that are below them. And I've seen directors of departments in hospitals have vision and actually try to be leaders, and they get squashed by the management above them. And it's just really sad, and it's detrimental to the company. And it'll just continue on in the same cycle over and over and over again. So guys, I just want to leave you with that. Focus on leadership. I've had many management positions, and I've been successful in my management positions, but I think it's only because I am more of a leader than a manager. Management can be learned, leadership can be learned, but I think I am more innately a leader than I am a manager. And I think I can really express that, I really believe that, because if way back in the day, when I was about 19, I owned a computer company. And Business wasn't bad. I had a lot of customers, but I didn't charge what I was worth, and I felt guilty about charging people. That was poor management. That is a manager's job to make sure that the methods and the processes are followed through with, and that, the profits are up. In my case, I was great at inspiring people, and I had no problem gaining customers and doing the job. What I had a problem was the management part of it. And I learned, I gained experience over the years, and I had other management jobs, and I learned, and I grew out of that. But the biggest failure of my own company that I owned, fixing people's computers, was that I had all leadership and very little management. It goes hand in hand, guys. So if you own a security company, focus on the leadership, work on the management, tie them together. They go hand in hand. If you are an owner of a company, you are the leader. If you have a qualified manager, they are your manager. Be a leader. Let the manager manage. You be the leader. You be the vision for the company. You lead the company through changes and growth. The manager makes sure that the processes are in place to achieve those goals that you set. Well, guys, I've kind of went on a rant and I just rambled here. I hope that some of the info that I provided was useful. I'm going through a little bit of a transition myself here in life, and I'm not sure where it's going to take me, but I have to stay strong. I have to stay focused, and I just kind of wanted to go over this, because this kind of what I'm talking about here on this video is kind of what I'm going through right now as well. So we'll see where it takes me, but just kind of wanted to share that, because I can tell you firsthand, a company with all management and no leadership will destroy your employees. As always, guys, stay safe, have a great day, and I will catch you later.